Damn it. So technically it's the start of my day. Alexa, wake me up in 6 hours.
6 hours, starting now.
Hey, so if you're new to the channel, I'm Tren Black. My favorite color is black. My name is Tren Black. So this is a day in my life. I'm a sophomore at Arizona State University, aka the #1 party school, which is, kind of funny because I don't know if things have changed, but I've literally never been invited to a party before. Great clickbait though, right? So I hate day in the life videos. I feel like they're all just some kid walking and eating breakfast. Plus the video will show that kid eating for 1 minute, exercising for 1 minute, and then studying for 1 minute. So you're thinking, oh, I study the same amount of time that I eat, right? No, in reality, you study 9 times longer. In real life, you can't just time lapse your studying like they do in the video. You have to actually sit through. So anyway, it's become a theme amongst my channel to say that computer science is not about programming. It's about problem solving. And while that sounds pretty braggadocious, you might be wondering, what does that even mean? What problems are you solving? What's a computer? And I hope to answer some of those in this video. What kinds of problems are we solving? What does it mean to problem solve? I'm going to show you some specific types of problems you'll be solving as a computer science major, and I'm going to explain it in a way that anybody can follow. So it's going to be at a very basic level. And this is exactly the stuff that every other day in the life video skips, when really it's the most important part. I think it's more interesting than eating breakfast. So without further ado, let's get started with my day. Alright guys, here's my breakfast. I know I said I wasn't gonna include this, but I'm desperate for content, so they're called fat bombs. Basically it's just dark chocolate. It tastes absolutely terrible, but I just down some of these every morning with some milk. Sick ride. Wow. Beautiful. Alright guys, so I just got to school. I'm about to head to Hayden Library because I'm meeting up with a friend and doing a mock interview. See you there. Now you might be wondering, what is a mock interview? Why are me and my friends interviewing each other? Is this 21 questions? Gone sexual? And that's a good question. I feel like other majors don't really do this. If you just want to work for these really big, really high-paying companies, they interview you in this type of way. They present a question. It's kind of like a computer science, like a riddle, not really a riddle, but just a problem that you have to solve on the spot. And they're pretty difficult. But if you're really good at solving problems like this, then you get the salary, you get the job, right? And if you're not good at it, then I'm sorry, you're fucked. So basically, me and my friend, we both are practicing by asking each other these types of questions. You can find like interview type questions online. I'm gonna explain to you exactly the question that I just got asked during this fake mock interview, and then just to give you an idea of what these kinds of questions are like, what kind of questions you should be studying as a CS major, what kind of questions you'll be asked during your interviews for jobs. So yeah, let's get into it. Alright, here's the question that I got from the mock interview. So imagine you have this thing called a node. Now, what is a node? Well, it's a container that has a value, and optionally it points to a left node as well as a right node. Since these are nodes themselves, they also have values, and then they can point to more nodes if they want. So here's the question. How do we write a function that can determine if it meets this one property? The property being that every single element on the left of a node is less than the value of that node, while every single element on the right of the node is greater than the value of that node. How would we write a function that could determine if that is true? The entire thing together is called a tree. So does a tree fulfill that property? So the first way you might think of solving this is to go level by level. This is called a greedy algorithm. 20 to 10. Is 10 less than 20? Yes. Is 35 greater than 20? Yes. Is 5 less than 10? Yes. And then we could conclude that since at each step it was valid, then the entire tree is valid, right? Well, ask yourself, will this always return the correct result? What if this value right here was 50? Is 50 greater than 13? Yes. Does this entire tree fulfill that property? No, because 50, if you go all the way back, it's on the left side of the 20. But 50 is greater than 20, does not fulfill the property. But an algorithm such as this would say that it does. So how can we create an algorithm that always returns the correct result? So I suggest you guys think about this yourself, pause the video. How would you create the algorithm? That's the problem that we're trying to solve. I'll give you a solution. So what you could do is similar to this approach, except the only difference is that each step you pass in a range as well. Think about it. Let's say for the root node, we have a range of infinity to negative infinity, because the root node can be any number, right? But when we go to the left, we know that this left number has to be less than 20. So at this point, it would be infinity to 20. But then we go down one more. Now we know it has to be less than 10. And then when we go to the right here, we see, okay, it has to be less than 20, but also, since it's on the right of 10, it has to be greater than 10. So at this point, we'd pass in 10 to 20. If the value of the node is not in the range, then we return false for the entire thing. But if we get to the end and every single value is within the range, then we're good. In this case, 10 to 20, good. We go down here, it becomes 13 to 20. Is 50 within the range 13 to 20? Nope. The entire thing is false. That's a solution to how you can solve a problem like this. So let's see how that looks when you code it up. All right, so here's the actual problem. I literally just stole it off LeetCode. Also, if you guys want to see which company I end up at, whether it's Google, whether it's Facebook, whether it's 7-Eleven, make sure you subscribe because I'll make a video once I finally get my offer. Although like the nature of the way I've solved it seems like I would use recursion, I just prefer to use a stack. I'll have an empty array, but I want to initialize it to the first element in the stack. Also, for each element in my stack, I want to have a lower bound range and a higher bound. So, and then while there is an element in stack, so while s, which basically just says that we haven't reached the end of the entire structure yet. So I'm gonna pop the first element off the stack. I'm gonna assign that to a variable current. Actually, I can parse this here. So I'll have the node, I'll have the lower bound, and I'll have the higher bound. If we get to a point, and this is a base case, if we get to a point where the node is just none, then we know immediately that we don't have to check the rest. We can just continue on. So if not node, what this does is comes back to the start of the loop. Is our value of the node within our range? If not, we're returning false. False. Then I'm just gonna append to the stack the left and the right. So s.append node.left. Now we have to determine what is the range that we're updating. If it's to the left, the lower bound stays the same, but the higher bound now becomes node.val. And then we're also appending the right. The lower bound becomes node.val. The higher bound stays the same. If we get to here at this point, that means we're at end of the structure. So we've recursed it all. We've never found a false scenario. So now we just return true. So if I submit this, you'll see what? Right. I think this entire thing should be in a little brace. All right, cool. 11%. Not 91%. There we go. Yeah, I don't know why it gives me different runtimes. Like now I'm faster than 91%. But anyway, I mean, like you can see, I did this 10 days ago. One key takeaway here I want you to see is that the coding was trivial. It was the problem solving, what I did on paper. Once you figure out how you solve it, you just type it up. All right, so I'm done with the mock interview. I actually have class starting. It's a CS class, like circuits and stuff. but I'm actually just not gonna go because I don't learn anything in that class because my professor's trash. So instead, I'm just gonna go to my friend's dorm and get some discrete math homework done. Alright, so I'm currently going to my friend's dorm. He lives in Tooker, which is the dorm for computer science students. So if you're curious what your dorm is gonna look like if you come to ASU, I'll show you that in a second. So, here we are at the fucking palace. Alright, make sure they do that. Fucking nasty ass. So I want to see a palace in here. I guess my roommate's currently sleeping. Hey, buddy. Hawaiian flag. So that's what the dorms look like. As you can see, there's also a pretty cool view. Great place to seppuku. Just jump off, I guess.
Hello. We will begin our studying very soon. But first, maybe I can relax you with some peaceful music. Computer science. Are you excited to begin studying? Let's just make sure our equipment is ready. Do we have our pen? Check. What about our paper? Check. Looks like we're ready to begin studying.
Let's do a little bit of discrete mathematics. What is discrete mathematics? I think Jarvis Johnson had a bit of luck finding the answer to that.
Discrete mathematics is the study of mathematical structures that are fundamentally discrete.
So the first thing I learned in discrete mathematics was logic, using NOT gates or AND gates. But my main key takeaway from that is that you can say things in math. So what does that look like? All right, well, let's lay down some fundamentals. Okay, so that means not, that means and this means or. This means P implies Q. Let's say we have f of x and y. Let's say that means x loves y. So for example, do Jay-Z loves Beyonce? Which is true, I hope. A not true statement would be Chris Brown and Rihanna. It is not the case that Chris Brown loves Rihanna. We can do some cool things just by using these. For example, if we were to say the phrase that love is always reciprocal, we have this upside down A, and this means that for every value it is true. And then we also have this backwards E, and it means for at least one value it is true. So to say love is always reciprocal, we can say that for every value of x and for every value of y, if x loves y, so if p of x, then it is also true that y loves x. So for every value of x and y, if x loves y, then y loves x. Love is always reciprocal. Pretty cool, right? So let's try one more. Let's try Tren only loves one person. Well, two things need to be true here. It needs to be true, or there's at least one person that Tren loves, and it also needs to be true that for every person Tren loves, that person is also the one person from before. There's at least one person, Tren loves that one person, and for every person, if it is true that Tren loves that person, then that person equals the same person. I just realized how fucking bad my handwriting is. Alright, let's try one more. I want you guys to try this one out for yourself. How would we say this? we could say that for every person, right? Because these people, that person loves that person, so that person loves himself. We know it is not the case, so not that person loves himself. Then, for every other person, it is not the case that that person loves the other person. Bingo, we just said it. So yeah, I mean, this is pretty cool that you can just express statements in terms of just using logic gates like that. So that was a little bit of discrete mathematics, but that was just a very small portion of it. So in discrete math, you learn a lot of things that aren't really directly related. Like in calculus, everything you learn builds off of what you've learned the day prior, right? In discrete mathematics, not really. For example, currently I'm learning sets and functions, which sounds pretty computer sciencey, but we're kind of learning like the math of it. Another really big thing in discrete mathematics is proofs. Now, I'm not going to go into proofs right now because I'm lazy. Proofs are a really big part of higher level math. You know, in high school in calculus, it's very like computational math. So you're given a set of numbers, an integral, right? And then you just have to solve it or compute it. And that's the math of it. But when you move into higher math, it actually becomes less about computing something and more about the theory or proving something. For example, just proving something as simple as an even number plus an odd number is an odd number. So in your computer science program, expect to be doing a lot of proofs, proof by inductions. But once you learn proofs, then I feel like it changes the way you think and it makes you think a lot more logically. So proofs are cool. All right, now, pretty soon at 6, I have my existentialism class. It's a philosophy class. Basically, we're just talking about like the meaning of life, or if suicide is the answer to life, what are morals, what's right, what's wrong. It's pretty interesting actually. We just meet once a week, but it's from 6 to 8:45, so it's almost like a 3-hour class. If you have emotional breakdowns on the meaning of life a lot, I suggest taking this class. It's pretty cool. I'll see you after that. All right, guys, I just got out of my philosophy class. It's currently 8:45, so yeah, now I'm gonna hit the gym. And this is what that looks like.
Stars in your eyes, all up in your mind, angel in disguise. Planets collide, stars in your eyes, all up in your mind, angel in disguise.
Sorry about that cringy edit. I would say on an average day, I'm probably not that douchey at the gym. I don't take my shirt off every time I go to the gym. But yeah, it's currently 11:45. I'm going to drive home. I'm going to eat dinner, chicken breast and rice, have a protein shake, do homework for a few hours, and then probably start reading. So I'll catch you guys in that. So, not to sound like a generic John Fish, but I end my day reading 10 pages of a book every single night. And I only started doing this year, but this has undoubtedly been one of the most impactful, most productive things I've ever decided to do. I highly recommend. So, I'll give you some examples. I'm reading the book, The Simulation Hypothesis, right now. It just goes into the theory that we're living in a simulation or a video game and providing all the evidence that we have. It's alright. This book personally is not the best book I've ever read. The book I was reading before this was Bad Blood. Basically, it's the story of this girl, Elizabeth Holmes, who made a fake startup in Silicon Valley. She pretended to provide this groundbreaking new technology in medicine, but the entire thing ended up being fake. So this is a story of the lies in Silicon Valley, right? Not every book I read is related to computer science or Silicon Valley or simulations. I like this book a lot, The Slight Edge. Definitely one of the best books I've ever read. In general, though, I personally think that self-help books are mostly BS. I think most of them are just only serve the purpose of getting you high, but that's a whole nother can of beans. I'm not going to open that in this video. But if you want me to go into why self-help books are all BS, leave a comment, because I'll make that video too. So I'm going to read my 10 pages and go to bed. I'll see you tomorrow. Except I won't. Because this is a video, and you're not actually my friend.